Eminem needs to stop going at people. You heard that
You're
thing where...
listening to Inside Real Estate, where we go deep into the minds of real estate professionals. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sal.
Sal, I need to recut that, man. I keep talking about it. Will you
I
make
like
sure
it.
you're into it still?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too bad.
I think it's great.
The British voice, you like that? Is
I
she
do.
British or is she South American or South African?
She's definitely British.
She's British?
Yeah.
I mean, I paid for it. You think I know?
You should edit it up like you do the Photoshops.
What's up, everyone? We are Inside Real Estate. I'm Paul Apostolakis. We've got Salvatore Kuzmano. How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing good.
We've got special guest today, Mr. Ross Rawson III.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Excited.
Good to have you. You got that sleeve on full display today. I like that.
Right, busting it out.
Everybody that's listening, please go to iTunes, go to Stitcher, go to Podcast, or what is it? Podcast Detroit. What else we got, Jessica? Am I missing anything?
SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher,
All of it.
Wow.
all the places.
All of it. We're
The
there.
podcast.
He's doing it
Yeah.
big.
Subscribe, like, love, share. Give us some comments. Tell us how bad we are. We've got Ross. Ross, today I'm going to have you talk a little bit about a strong pre-approval. I think that's really important to understand that that makes a big. It's a big deal in our
It's
industry.
huge. Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about you do a lot of good stuff on social media as a real estate agent. I think that's important to do. As we're going to talk today about an article that was in the Free Press about UWM and Quicken and Matt Ishbia. This is a local thing that's happening, but it's kind of a national scale now, which is kind of interesting. And then I do want to talk a little bit about the interest rate market. It's just really flat right now, but we'll just touch on that. But first and foremost, man, give us your background. How'd you get into the business? How long you been doing it? All that good stuff. Your hair looks good, by the way.
Thanks,
really
brother.
good.
That's fun. Thanks for it. Yeah. I came in the business actually exactly a year ago on August 21st. I joined Real Team.
It's not exactly.
Well,
It's close.
It's close. Yeah, roughly. A little over less than a year ago or more. And so came in. Mindset was definitely that could take on everything. And then I came across you guys.
Yeah.
And then from there, Real Team really started to give me the tools to succeed. And I've sold in my first year of real estate $4 million.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Did pretty good. By the help of you guys too. Thanks. And
I appreciate the plugs, by the way. You keep doing that all show long. I love it.
You got to, right?
I love it.
But so that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously you came in here and I'm like, what should we talk about? And you're like, dude, I want to talk about pre-approvals because I think this just happened to you.
For sure.
So tell the audience and the people that are listening why, as a real estate agent, a proper pre-approval is so important just on your end. And obviously we'll talk about why it's so important on the consumer's end. But, for you, how bad is it when you get a pre-approval and the company that did the pre-approval didn't really pre-approve them?
Right. No, it's horrible. And one thing I'll say is that when you're going through the process and leading your clients to buy a house, I can't tell you how important it is to have a lender that answers his phone, right? Like
you would think that's like par for the course,
and
man.
that's the thing. That's why I wanted to say how long I've been in the business for, because you guys, I gotta say, it pampered me. I feel like since day one, right?
Yeah.
Because I just had to deal with a client that didn't want to go anywhere else in his credit union.
Yeah.
And I can't get a hold of his guy other than 2 weeks.
Right.
What happens if the house falls off the? You know how the market is.
Yeah.
Right. You need to pick up your phone. Sal, how many times have I called you 8 o'clock at night? We need to get this in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Sal's a maniac. He picks up the phone every time.
Every time I call, man. It's actually funny. I was with my fiance, and I called Sal. It was 10 o'clock at night, and he answers, and she goes, "Does that guy ever not answer his phone?"
Never.
He never not answers his phone.
I'll have conversations with him. I can't anymore. I can't even have a full conversation with him.
Right.
It's he'll do this. He'll put his finger up and say, "Okay."
Right.
Hey man, let me know when you're done. And then he'll be like, "Oh, I've got a second. It's dialing out."
Yeah. I mean, the phone, that's why, it's funny. I'm like, I'm going to upgrade my phone early. I don't care. Right. As soon as a new one comes out, because it's the most valuable piece.
For sure.
It's the thing we
that
use
we
more
have.
than anything in the
right.
world.
The
I hate
value-
when people go cheap on their phone and this is what you do for a living.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
Yeah, so, that's definitely a key element that I love about, I think that you need to have in your lender. They need to be responsive. But even at that, most, sellers are asking, hey, where are you guys, getting lending from?
Right.
And if they don't know them, they don't want to use them.
Yeah, the reputation goes a long way. So we're not only talking about the pre-approval, Sal, and the nuts and bolts of getting pre-approved, But we're also talking about the value add that loan officer or company that the person's getting pre-approved through, and that synergy that they have with the whole team, the real estate.
Yeah. Well, I think, I always try to figure out, right, what works best and why work with someone other than, just doing a good job, right? Like,
Right.
once you get the deal, that's should be par for the course just to do well, right? Like, okay, I'm going to answer my phone, I'm going to communicate, and I'm going to close the loan on time. But
Right.
I think the biggest thing throughout the pre-approval process and the house hunting process is making sure that buyer is comfortable
Right.
writing on a home, right? Knowing what the numbers are, because like you said, that Sunday night call,
Yeah.
if they don't know, like, I don't know what the payment is, I don't know what the costs
Yeah.
are, right? And if they know that, then they can decide if they want to do it or not. And if they do, they won't have any regrets because the numbers won't go up or whatever, right? As opposed to, I don't know, man, let's wait till the bank opens Monday morning.
Yeah.
Bro,
Sorry, I went pending.
Yeah. Just had that horrible experience.
Sorry, I went pending.
right?
Yeah. Horrible
House is
experience.
gone.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't have a team around you that works on your schedule, because let's be real, clients are looking houses when
Yeah.
on weekends at night,
Outside of work.
outside
When
of
it's
work.
convenient for
Outside
them.
of banking hours.
Right?
Yeah.
My
You
weekends
know,
are the
right.
busiest time for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm taking more calls on
Yeah.
the weekend than anybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reality is, okay, yeah, your pre-approval is one part of it, but how accessible and how well does that loan officer work with the team
Yeah.
around you?
And I remember, when I first started working at Quicken, it's like, dude, they're like, what are you doing this weekend? Besides work. I'm like, I'm not working.
No,
Right.
man.
You know,
Like, I'm going home,
Yeah,
brother.
right,
Like,
yeah.
I should have worked at the grocery store Chase,
Right.
But I mean, they got that part right. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to be absolutely available at, all times of the
For
day.
sure.
All times
And that
of the
doesn't
night.
mean that you have to be in the office, because like you and I
No.
are not in the office all the time,
Yeah.
but we're always working.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's not rocket science to crunch numbers to someone who's in the business, right? Or at
Not
least
at all.
as on the mortgage side, because there's different things that if you're not in the mortgage business or you don't have access to certain calculators for like PMI and things like that, that's the X factor. Principal
Right.
and interest and taxes and insurance are pretty easy to calculate, but knowing the PMI, knowing the closing costs, knowing what you're walking into is what activates a buyer. And I think that's above and beyond just the comfort that the loan will close. A strong pre-approval, I think, also means that the buyer knows what they're actually pre-approved for and what they're walking into, right?
Yeah. Which
Because
is huge.
The buyer can blow the deal up just as easy.
Yeah.
Oh, I got my numbers. What can I do? Can we say this inspection's bad? Can we back out of this deal?
Dude,
Right?
you know how many times I've heard like, "Hey, I'm backing out of this deal," or from an agent, I got this guy back, and I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because he got his payment," and he was like, "I can't afford that."
Wow.
How the hell did you
Yeah.
not know that?
And,
Yeah.
ultimately that does come down to the team, right? Because if the agent doesn't communicate to the loan officer what they're doing, like I've many times just gotten a purchase agreement in my email inbox. I'm like, dude,
That's wild. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I
these
think that's-
taxes are like $2,000 higher than what I estimated, just so you know.
sure.
And they're
That's-
like, what? The payments? I can't do this.
Right. And I think you and I both, we can agree that that's one of the first things we do. I actually get you in a group text with my clients and I say, hey, we're getting ready to write on this. These are the taxes. What do you think it's going to be before we even get to inspection?
Yeah.
Because, communication is huge. We don't want any missing pieces.
Yeah, if you can't get on a group text with your, team,
Yeah.
you probably are potentially working with someone who's not going to be able to service you the best, right? Like when I look at when I call like an agent and they just have an office line, right? Well, you can call my office. I'm like,
you get like a answering service.
I don't understand.
Right,
I mean, I
every
guess
time.
I get it because you guys are highly solicited by loan officers and mortgage.
We're solicited
mortgage
too.
and title.
We get
Yeah.
blown up.
Yeah, but not. But agents kind of control the business for both mortgage and title.
Right.
But I notice, like, for me, I'm always trying to figure out, okay, what's the contact for the appraisal, right, for the listing agent, and then I can't find a direct phone number often unless they're with like their own brokerage or it's like, oh, email me, and it takes you to one of those forms online, right?
Just to wrap this up, that basically, I mean, we're talking about the importance really of having a good team around you, regardless
Yeah.
of who it is, whether it's us, whether it's you. If you're buying a house, I always say this. I know this is a weird analogy, but if you were going to go to like trial for like murder or something, you would pick a really good team around you, right? You wouldn't just go with a guy that doesn't, like if you had two attorneys, you wouldn't pick one that doesn't talk to the other one, right? Like
That'd
you
be a
want
mess.
that'd be a mess, right? So I mean, I'm sure like OJ's team all talk to each other, right? And it worked out for him, fortunately. So that's what I mean.
OJ.
But I'm just saying, like, people understand that like a pre-approval is a piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything, right? What's everything in this industry is reputation of the people that you work with. Do they do a good job, and are they going to have your back, and are they going to work well as a team?
Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
Because you and I, or you and Sal, or whoever we work with, we are all working together on behalf of the client, right?
Which is huge.
It's huge.
Yeah. People need to know that.
So people out there, just think about that when you're getting your pre-approval. It's more than just the pre-approval. You're picking your representation in this transaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to be on top of that. So Ross, talk to me a little bit about your social game, because you this industry has become very, very like social media is big, right? Like that's the easiest way to get in front of people, your sphere of influence. So talk to me about what your strategy is with that, because I know we talked about it when you started doing a lot
For
of that
sure,
stuff,
yeah.
right?
I think it's really key. I mean, even look at right now. What's Sale doing?
He's texting.
He's on his phone, and I mean, your phone's right in front of your face. So if you want exposure in this business, you got to really look where people's eyes are, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what the whole game's about, right? And so, from my understanding, go to a coffee shop. You're going to see people. They're going to have their phone right in front of their face.
Nobody's looking at anybody anymore.
No,
They're-
and 9 times out of 10, they're looking at Instagram, Facebook.
yeah.
So if you want to get your name out there, I would say get on those platforms, have that omnipresence, right? I started doing videos about like 3 months ago,
yeah.
3-4 months ago,
Yeah.
and I think I'm at like 7 or 8 houses sold just because of that.
Really?
Just Instagram and Facebook alone. Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, and there's something about it, right? Because you're there when you're right. If I'm sleeping, someone might watch a Facebook video. I just had it happen. Guy watched a Facebook video at 2 a.m. I get a message at like 2:30 a.m. and he's like, "Hey Ross, I'm looking for a house. Remember Adam?" Yeah. We ended up closing on Adam, and just because he saw the video and was like, "Man, this guy knows what he's talking about."
Right.
Yeah.
But so talk to me about this, though. How uncomfortable is it to put yourself out there all the time?
I mean, okay, like.
It is not a comfortable thing.
No, not at all. But like you and I both know, it's kind of like one of those things for me. I guess this is the question you have to ask yourself. Where are we going, right? Do I want to be a part of the next wave, right? And then does the uncomfortability outweigh the outcome?
For sure.
Right.
Anything uncomfortable is usually worth doing.
For sure.
In my opinion, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny because when we first started doing it, like you got nice tats. It's a beautiful sleeve that you've got going on. And I remember you were wearing a coat, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
rock the sleeve, dude.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure. I mean, I still listen. If I'm still going to mom and pop's house, I'm wearing
I
the
get it,
suit.
but even on your social, I
Yeah.
noticed, because I honestly believe that social is very personal. You got to be who
For
you
sure,
are, right?
yeah.
And whoever's going to work with me, like I'm a good person. You're a good person.
Yeah.
The image thing, like I don't care. Like you're like I'm just gonna be who I am, right? Like, I'm
It's
not gonna-
huge.
right?
Because you don't want to be a phony.
No,
And
dude. There's a
people
lot
can
of
sniff
people.
that out these days.
A lot of people are like douchey.
Yeah.
A lot of douchey
Yeah.
people. Right, Sal?
It's pretty blunt.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, I mean, I think like you said, you have to stay relevant in one way, right? Either you're adding value, either you're doing something a little crazy,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you have to keep it interesting, you have to engage people, and you have to deliver it quick, because just as soon as it's as easy as scrolling past, right? You're watching the video for 5 seconds and fuck this,
Nothing.
Gone.
right?
For sure.
So
Yeah.
it's
And
one
I
of
love
those-
what you guys been doing too, like that one you did going down the store with,
I
with the
was
beer.
buying the beer.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, I didn't even care what you were gonna say. I'm like, I just gotta see what this guy's doing.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You got to change it up. It's all
For
about
sure.
dude. You could do a million videos. You could do like I've done tons of them, and like everyone's uncomfortable, right? We do the podcast. You never know like what's
How
going to
you're
work.
gonna reach that person.
You don't
yeah.
know. It's all like trial and error. Everybody's like, "Oh, how do you do social?" Like, you don't really. There's no
For
formula,
sure.
dude.
Yeah.
You just got to do a lot of it.
And that's it. And you bring up a great point, right? Because you might not be able to catch someone on the podcast or the video, but she's even lately. I wrote a letter to an old woman, and she responded. We're listing her house, right? It's like everyone has a way that you
wrote
need.
a letter.
I wrote a
I
letter.
don't
Yeah.
even know if I can write anymore. Like,
But what I'm
actually.
saying, and like you bring up a good point, is that each person has a way that they are going to receive what you're trying to bring them.
the
right?
message, right?
And so
How
you,
do they, right?
You got to be on every platform.
Everyone. Yeah, it's tough though. It takes a lot of work because it's consistency. That's the tough part
That
about
is the tough
social.
part, yeah.
You got to keep doing it. You do it a lot over a
You
long period of time.
And I'm not an expert at it, but I feel like you have to have some type of call to action too. Not always, right? If you're just adding value, but like if you want to get something out of something,
Right.
there has to be some type of like, okay, so what do I do about it, right? Like that's probably what the consumer's thinking. So how do you tie that without making it seem so salesy and
I'll be fair, I have a hard time with that because I think we do a really good job at Omega, like adding value with our posts. But the reality is, there's not really a call to action. Like I'm not like, hey, call me. Like so, it is a weird fine line to like cross that. It's like at one point, do I start saying, okay, guys, I give you a lot of value. You need to call me because
it's like this podcast, right?
Right.
Like we're not. We genuinely aren't doing this to plug ourselves or anything, right?
For
It's
sure.
more or less to get knowledge out there from the minds, as the British woman says, going deep inside the minds of
Inside the minds.
Yeah. So, but it is what it is, and I think by adding value, you can get business and just kind of show, like you said, like you're the professional. People know what you're talking about just by doing that, and people will call. But it's funny because it's always like a train, right? Like everyone wants to get on it.
Let's go.
After the fact.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Or during
Yeah.
and during it, and it's like, now it's like I have like half my friends on Facebook are real estate agents, and I'm constantly unfollowing people because I just can't stand people inside of an open house like seems like their first video that they've ever taken ever. Camera's all shaky. There's wind. I'm here at 123 Main Street, and
No one's coming to that.
It's just like dumpy house somewhere, and it's like, come on, man.
For
you
sure.
know, like it's good, but it's just like our business in general, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone wants to be the top agent. Everyone wants to do a really good job, and some people just aren't. And
For sure.
it's a harsh
Maybe
reality.
that will be
but
my
it's-
next thing, right? My next business. I'll help people with social media, right, Paul?
Hey, and that's
We'll
not a
crush
bad
that
thing,
market,
I mean,
yeah.
I think that it's good, right? Because it separates like the really good.
But
Like,
everybody
people
wants to do it
notice, like
now,
your
but-
videos that you even make when you go on vacation, like blow my mind.
I
I'm like,
know.
dude, how'd you like cut and edit that? Aren't
Yeah.
you still up there?
It's like it's beautiful.
But,
Like,
yeah,
he's got
it's-
like drone footage.
It's cool,
and
you
shit.
know. But
Yeah, I
like,
appreciate it.
don't be the guy who's like sitting in an open house in East Point, like,
Eating a
taking
cracker.
yeah,
Right.
come on here, 12 to noon. It's like, okay,
Yeah, put some thought into it, people, because people will see it.
it's how you put yourself
For
out
sure.
there.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, be yourself, but put some thought into it. Don't
Yeah.
don't look like shit.
If I didn't think I looked like Jabba the Hutt on the weekend, maybe I'd do some myself. But like, come on.
We need to get Sal on the video. That's what we need next.
Sal hates being on camera.
No, I don't.
Doesn't?
I don't hate it. I just don't necessarily know. You kind of like make it your thing. You just
Yeah.
do it. You
So,
just
yeah.
kind of take it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
There's
Paul's
not
just
really an
cat-
opportunity.
Yeah, he's a one-take wonder.
Yeah.
This guy
He's
every
good.
time.
I
Yeah.
do it one take.
He's
I don't
good.
like doing more than one take. It's awkward.
For sure.
All right, so that's good. So social media obviously is a big part of our game right now. So real estate agents and like even the consumers, right? Like they want to see who they're working with. They want to like whatever you can do to humanize yourself in this business because it's difficult. A lot of times people are like, "Oh, you're the lender." No, I'm Paul Paslakis and I do mortgages and I'm going to help you. Right? It's different, right? When you can get rid of that lender barrier or realtor barrier or bank or like I want to strip all that away, and I want people to know that this is who I am, and I do care.
Well,
I give
I
a
think
shit.
it's having real conversations. And before
Yeah.
the podcast, we were talking about staying positive, but you can also be realistic and be positive too, right? Like,
sure.
hey, this isn't going to be what it's going to be or what it was at the beginning, right? Your numbers have changed by X or whatever. Your appraisal came in low. You don't qualify for this program anymore. But here's how we can make it work, right? Here's how we can get to the solution. I don't even know if I want to say being positive-minded.
I think that's like being very having professionalism, right? Because
Yeah.
there's other
Dude, it's
people.
harder to tell someone no.
For
That's
sure.
difficult. You got to be able to do that because sometimes people need to hear the reality.
Well, listen, there would be no reason for people to be involved in this business if it wasn't for problems.
This
right?
is true. Yeah.
If everything went great every time, it'd be cakewalk. You could just robot it all, right?
For sure. Yeah, they wouldn't need
So,
us.
I think like our job is more or less being good problem solvers. That's what separates us from everyone else because there's always a problem, whether it's multiple offer
yeah.
situation, whether it's the deal's falling sideways,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, you got to be able to fix the problems and communicate it and make sure everybody's on board. And
Yeah.
I mean, listen, what we do isn't complicated to be okay at it. But if you really want to be great at it, you got to be able to do a lot of different things.
This is so true. Being able to keep a deal together too, and that's why you see these people who will just jump in the business. But it's not that. It's really important. What we're saying here is that it might be an easy problem to solve, but we've seen it 1,000 times and we know how to address it right away, rather than just someone who's going off the whim at it one time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is funny because every time there's a deal in peril, I'll say I'm
Right.
like, I think about some of the other ones that we've figured out, and it's like. I've dealt with worse. We'll figure it out.
When you've been when you've been to like Aleppo, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like getting in a car accident is not a big deal, right? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's like
it's like
it can happen
we'll get
daily.
through it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was just being shot at in Aleppo for 4 months. This is not that big of a deal. So we've been through some really tough deals in our careers, but now when you do get a tough one, to your credit, we're like, we'll figure it. I mean, you don't understand how many times this happens. Oh shit, and you're like, oh Sal, what happened? Well, here's blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, let's figure it out. We go into, like, figure out mode, right? There's no
For sure.
panic anymore.
Problem
Like,
solving.
it's like in the face of adversity, Sal's really good at this, too. He's like, I got to figure this out. And he just zones in and, like, puts everything together, and he's like, this is how it all is going to happen. And he sees the future. He's very magical. It's very good. He does a very good job with it. He really
Man.
is.
Magical Sal.
All right,
wish.
so I want to talk about this Free Press article. I mean, it's in the Free Press. It's all over the news. It's in our backyard, so I got to touch on it. We know both these people, at least we all do. So this is the Detroit Free Press headline: War erupts between mortgage giants Quicken Loans and United Shore. So for the audience that doesn't know who United Shore is, everybody knows who Quicken is. United Shore is the largest wholesale lender in the country. What they do is they extend money and underwriting to brokers across the country. Quicken historically was very consumer direct. They were buying leads. They were going right to the consumer, where wholesale was more going to the broker, and the guys like us would go and create relationships and do a lot more purchase business. Well, now the market shifted because rates have gone up. Quicken is putting a lot of money into their wholesale division because they do wholesale as well. The problem is Matt's the number one guy, and he kind of poked the bear, dude. So Matt is kind of going at Quicken, is like not backing down. There was this whole thing that happened. Like 3 employees went down to the Quicken Loans campus and handed out flyers to all their retail loan officers because retail was getting worse interest rates than their broker side, their wholesale side. I mean, this might be a little over people's heads, but the bottom line is we've got 2 really large mortgage companies in our backyard, very large. The largest wholesale lender, the largest retail lender, and they don't like each other. And it's a very soap opera-ish what's happening. It's a little childish, dude, to be honest with you. I mean, what's going on? It's
Yeah.
kind of funny. Jay Farner, who runs Quicken, is going at Matt. Matt's going back at Jay. They're like, it's a war of words. Jay's like, like basically bagging on Matt, and then Matt's like, no, it's just very interesting. This article is really well written and kind of gives you a breakdown of what happened. But I guess my question to you, Sal, mostly for you, because you've been on both sides. I've been on both sides, right? Like, why are they fighting? You know what I mean? Like, why would they go at each other right now?
I think it's just a matter of probably the competitive nature of people in our business, right? And for
That's
some
true.
reason they want to get an edge on the other and whatever. I think at the end of the day, right, it doesn't really matter what anyone says, especially in those companies. I think what matters is who transacts with each, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's,
Yeah.
just take a look at the numbers. I mean, that's how I look at it. I don't care what anyone says about me. I don't care what anyone says about our company. I don't care what hey, what's it say on the 31st?
Yeah.
Who's got the numbers,
Right.
right?
How do we
And-
do? How do we perform?
Yeah.
Right?
Who's
What's your
going to have the numbers
performance?
next month? I don't care. I think it, to me, like one thing that I actually learned at Quicken, and I will say this, is they said, ignore the noise, right?
It's really
The
good
talk,
saying, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Those isms and, the things that we learned at UWM too, they're all good. And I think that working at both gave me a good perspective of both sides. And they're saying that, rates are better at Quicken Wholesale than Quicken Retail. Well, hell yeah, they are. Someone's got to pound the pavement and find the deals, right?
Yeah,
So,
but the
when you're
retail
sitting in-
the retail guys who make up the majority of the company were not happy about that.
They
Right.
don't even, but
They don't understand.
when you're a retail loan officer and you've never had to actually source your own business and you're just calling through a queue of leads all day, grinding, right? Quote unquote grinding,
unquote
aka
grinding.
just making calls and talking to people. It's not easy work, right? It's arduous work, but I think that, the people who do the work are rewarded, the self-employed people, right? Those people, deserve to have the lower rates and probably take higher margins and end up being close to them anyway. So, yeah, you can make more money.
There's a bigger issue at hand, though, Sal. The bigger issue at hand is this whole notion, and I'll break this down for you, Ross, because I know you're a little bit outside of it. But the bigger issue at hand is this idea that Quicken is a retail shop and they market to all their clients, and they believe on some level that any client that goes through their channel is their client. So us as a broker, our mentality is right now we have this pool of people that we're creating, this database of people. Those are our clients. We want to be able to market to them if they ever buy another house, if they want to refinance. We want to be able to be there for that.
I mean, you don't want to compete against the person who you sent the loan
Right.
to, essentially, right?
So
if we send a loan to Quicken and
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So Quicken has a wholesale. We're signed up with Quicken, right? We don't send them
Right.
a lot of deals, but I go up against Quicken. They're my competition, like on a lot of deals, right? But then you want me to send the deal back to you, and then you potentially, if rates go down, they're a marketing machine, right? They're going to market to that client way better than I can as a little, broker here in Royal Oak. So that's the bigger issue. It would be like you at Real Team working, and they're like they've got two agents or they've got someone from the company going and trying to get the same listing as you,
Yeah, that's out of control.
right?
For
and
sure.
it's actually a pretty smooth process to send them deals, but I think obviously most people don't because of that fear, right?
That's their biggest
It's like-
issue right now.
It's almost like reverse prospecting is what you're saying, right?
Correct. That
Yeah.
We're helping them gain a bigger database. They're
Yeah.
mining. They're really what they're looking to do, and they've said this before. They're a data company. They're trying to get as much data from people as possible. Well, on the wholesale side, that doesn't work, brother. Like that's what Matt's done. That's kind of genius. Matt doesn't have retail at all. He's like, I'm going to support the brokers in any way I can. That's all he focused on, and it worked out for him. And now they're way ahead of Quicken on that.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Way ahead of Quicken on
and
that.
ultimately, I think that
So Quicken's playing catch up.
yeah, and again, we'll see what it looks like in a couple of years, right?
Quicken will catch up.
Yeah.
So, they've got deep pockets, and I don't know that Matt. I mean, I know Matt's. I know Matt really well. Matt's a good dude. He's kind of poking the bear, and they've got that bear has deep pockets.
Yeah.
But you can't buy business, right? And I think they've shown that by providing value above and beyond having the best rates. Right?
UWM.
Yeah,
No,
because
they just provide value.
as
They
a-
don't have the best rates.
yeah, on the wholesale side, working at a wholesale company, that was like one of your biggest objections. So and so has a better price. I'd rather make less money as a broker, but have a smoother process.
Close in 8
and,
days.
provide
You know
more
what I mean?
value to my clients than make more money and do more volume.
This goes
right?
back to everything, and I believe this wholeheartedly. And it goes for us, right? The day I stop providing value to you is the day that I become irrelevant, and you'll
For sure.
you'll have to move on, right?
For sure.
So we, as a group, have to always find ways to add value to our partners to make sure that you're successful. Because if you succeed, I succeed, everybody's happy, right?
Everybody's happy.
So UWM has had that model where they want to make the brokers succeed. Because if they can create a network of brokers that are all succeeding, and the broker market's growing quite a bit, right? So that's their model.
Yeah.
Quicken isn't there yet. They don't.
Yeah.
They haven't
Well,
figured out how
listen,
to add value to the brokers.
Ultimately, this whole like free press, whatever, the news, the Facebook articles. I think, if anything, is good to come out of it, it's just awareness to the mortgage broker community, right?
Yeah.
and not necessarily
Let-
who wins that. There is no winner in that battle, really. It is what it is. I mean, again, the numbers at the end of the month dictate how things are going and progressing through that battle. But it's not like all of a sudden one day one of those are going to close or fold up.
No, they're not going anywhere.
So
They're massive.
it doesn't
companies,
really
right?
matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
It's all noise. It's BS. Know that there's also mortgage brokers out there who
I will tell
have
you that-
choices to send loans one way or the other.
I will tell you that the mortgage broker is the best place to get a mortgage as a consumer. Hands down. We just have way more options. We're not bound to a certain set of guidelines. If I want to send a deal to UWM, if I want to send it to Quicken, if I want to send it to Caliber, I have all these options at my disposal, and I can pick the best one for each scenario, right, Sal? Like we take the scenario and we say, where does this fit the best, and who's going to give us the best process and biggest rate of success for this deal right now? Which
Yeah,
is
I think people fail to realize, they're like, well, do you have your own in-house underwriter? No.
no.
But if I did, I'd have two of them, right?
Right.
And if it's Labor Day or whatever, or holiday weekend, there's a chance both of them are out of town, right? As opposed to UWM has 1,000 underwriters, So if one of them can't help me out at the moment, there's a whole line.
Here's the
of
other
other
side of it too. Even as a real estate agent, like a real estate agent should have different lenders for different things. right?
For
We
sure.
might not be the best lender for the 550 FHA credit or the 203K, which I will never do because they're horrible transactions, right?
Yeah.
As a real estate agent, you kind of have to have a diversified portfolio of people that you can send different deals to. It's the same thing on the broker side.
For sure.
Right?
Well, I mean, and I was just going to say this too, because you're talking a lot about value and, whether you pay more for something rather than getting less. I mean, Stephanie, my fiance, before I even knew you guys, when she bought her house, she bought it through Quicken.
Yeah.
But where do I go to get all my questions done? And if I'm going to refinance or get another purchase, you guys,
Yeah.
right? Like, even though Quicken's process is, great and smooth, whatever, it's still the value you guys bring
Right.
outdoes any of that.
Right.
And that's what you're saying, basically.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the value. How do you create value in what you do? And anything that you do in life, everything, like if you're going to be in business, you have to find ways to add value to your clients. And my clients aren't just the people getting the mortgages. My clients and Sal's clients are our real estate and our referral partners, right? So if I don't add value, if Sal stops answering his phone at 10 o'clock at night and is available, if I stop helping people with their social and trying to like build their businesses, if we stop adding value, if you stop calling your clients when they need to be called, or if you stop showing them houses at 8 o'clock when they want to look at a house, you become irrelevant very
For
quickly.
sure, yeah, because I'm just a key, right? At the end of the day.
So, yeah, you're
Yeah.
just letting people in, but you have to add value. You have to add value. You got to let them know this is a good house. You also have to. Another part of adding value, Sal, and you're good at this, is saying no. You got to tell people no. You can't just go after the sale because you got to do. Your body of work has to be really healthy.
Yeah, and I know I've said no to deals that ended up closing elsewhere.
Yep.
But I've often got calls that, hey man,
Yeah, you were right, man. It was a
yeah,
horrible
that deal
process.
blew up.
It blew
We're
up.
not closing,
Yeah.
right?
And well, this guy said I'm pre-approved, and he said I could get a mortgage. well, I don't think you can, man. But God bless. I hope you can figure it out. I
For
really
sure.
do, right? And 8 out of 10 times it doesn't work out, which I'm sorry to say isn't a great ratio. So if I miss, for my reputation, if I don't take the 2 deals that would have closed, but took all 10 and 8 of them didn't, and all those were bad experiences, that's not good for my brand.
No way. Yeah, for sure.
So
or your
Great
health.
point.
or
Yeah,
your
or your
health.
health.
Yeah. Or your health. So how do you feel about all these real estate companies opening up their own mortgage companies?
I mean, I think it just depends who's behind the helm. You
Yeah.
know, it's not bad. I think if they have experienced people running it, it's kind of hard legally to do anything real wrong. I mean, it's easy to do, but it's hard to get past doing anything wrong legally for the client. You know, like I don't see it as necessarily a disadvantage to the client, but ultimately, know who you're working with, and I don't know. It's
Seems
tough
like
to say,
it just
right?
seems
I
like
mean,
everybody wants a fucking mortgage company all of a sudden, right? Like you've got Keller Mortgage, right? They're opening up their Keller Mortgage. Great. Everybody's opening up their own mortgage company. It's becoming like a one-stop. Everybody's like, okay, well, here's my real estate agent, here's my mortgage, right? But I if it done well, it could work, right? If like let's say
it
like
just depends who's running it. I mean, if
Yeah.
you got a good team running it, then I don't think there's any issue with it. And especially if you're opening your own mortgage company, you're likely a broker.
But
And-
here's the part that hurts me sometimes. Like Keller Mortgage, I don't know anything about them. I haven't gone against them yet. But what if they're just really bad? But the real estate agent is incentivized
just like earlier,
and pressured.
the numbers at the end of the day will show everything.
Yeah, but
They will show.
yeah, you're right.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
because
that's a good point.
if they're incentivized to use someone who won't close deals,
Then
how are they
nobody's gonna
going to get
yeah,
in the incentive? So
Yeah, you're right.
to me, it doesn't really matter.
That's true.
There's always distractions in our business, one way or another, especially on our end. Oh, so and so is now working with this person. So and so is working with that. So and so opening their own mortgage company. We always freak out, right?
They don't really freak out.
Well, a little. I mean, I do, right? I mean, that's my income. But at the end of the day, right? They're either going to stick with them, and so be it, right? Let's ship a sale potentially or whatever. But hey, keep in contact, or hey, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, and we're doing business again.
I think
right?
it goes back to
So-
value. It goes to value. I mean, if you're adding value,
And-
you're fine, right?
God bless. Some of them might do it, right? And that's great. And if they can, all power to them. And hey, that is what it is, right? If we could potentially open a successful real estate company, right? I'm sure we would. But the work that's required to do it and the
It'd be
the
bad.
person
I
at the helm. I've never
Omega Realty.
I've never sold.
I feel like I'd be good at
I've
it.
never sold a. Yeah, I think we would
I
we would
think
be
it'd
able
be
to
pretty
grind,
good.
I
right?
couldn't
But
see
we've never
Paul as an
done it,
agent.
right? So I think as a
Showing houses on the weekends.
Get fucked.
well, we've never done it though, right?
No.
And I
no.
think we'd have the work ethic for it, and we would get good. But I don't think we could just run out of the gate running it, right? So
Right.
and that's what I fear sometimes about some. I hear all the time, oh, my broker wants to open a mortgage company. Well, who's going to run it, right? And if you're going to pull someone who is a good loan officer, that doesn't mean they're a good broker owner, right? I mean, that's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to balance to actually run a shop as opposed to be a good loan officer.
It's like the title thing, man. It's like, unfortunately, like all these in-house title companies, it takes a long time to figure out how to do it well. And potentially, if you're a borrower or a client, you could get hurt because you're using an in-house title company because that's their in-house title company, which I don't blame them for doing because they're doing what's best for their families, but they haven't figured it out yet. And how many problems have we had with some of these in-house title companies that just haven't figured it out yet?
Yeah. I think you just have to ask yourself as a broker owner, is it worth it, right? Is that going to be a distraction to capture X amount of business that you think will, increase your bottom lines? Or, should you just stay in your lane?
Yeah. That's a good point. It'd be like you doing like life insurance on the side, right? Are you going to do that great? Are you going to do them both great? Are you going to do them both subpar?
And I know
For
people
sure.
who do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I know people who service a client. They're a loan officer, they're a real estate agent,
Yeah.
and an insurance agent, and they do it great.
Yeah.
But
We have a guy on our team that does it.
Yeah, he does a great job.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's just up to each person what they want to do, and if they're going to be good at it, great. And if it's not working, you might want to focus on one thing, and that's all it is.
I think the percentage of success overall, I don't fear it as much, to be honest with you, because I don't think that they can compete with even Keller Mortgage. I don't think they're going to be picking up the phone at 10 o'clock at night, right? I just don't think that we're going to lose a lot because of all that, because we're just going to keep offering a very, I believe that we're elite, and we have to be elite because there's a lot of competition out there, Sal. We don't have the opportunity to not be elite.
Yeah.
We have to be.
Yeah. I mean, listen, and for anyone out there, do whatever the hell you want, right? But just try to do it well. I was in the shower today and I was washing my hair. And I
Congrats,
was like,
bro.
I don't know.
Is it that day of the week?
I had an epiphany. I had an
Looks
epiphany.
great.
I was like, man, I wonder what would happen if everyone in the United States, actually put in a good effort today. What would happen, right? If everyone in the United States did their job to the fullest until 5 p.m., whatever your time zone is, what would happen?
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, sale for president.
Okay. All right. But that doesn't happen.
No, I know. It will never happen.
We work
Yeah.
at
But
33%.
It's funny, right? I wonder what would happen to my life if I actually put 100% effort in every day.
Yeah, it's kind of
I
like
think.
this.
I
What
think.
is that?
Well, hold on a second. I think you put in about 88% effort.
I think I
Yeah.
put in 30.
I don't
Really?
believe that.
Yeah, I
I
don't know if
think
I believe that.
I think
don't
I
do
put in
Uh,
30, 40
I think another
every
thing, though,
single day.
There's days you do 100 though.
I
Here's a
realize this though too though. It's really a key point he's making though, because look, he is such an elite, hardworking
Yeah.
person, and I do this to myself all the time. We don't think that we're operating at a level of success,
Right.
but those around us are we're doing laps
Well, it's
around
because
them,
everybody else is so shitty.
So I think you don't realize you're operating at 100%, and you're only giving yourself 33.
But to Sal's
You know?
point, operating at 100% all the time is pretty tough.
For
and
1 month, if I operated at 100% every day,
Yeah,
I would blow anything I did in the past away.
Yeah,
It's
but
too hard.
That's true.
It's
And
hard.
personally, I like to shut myself off,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I feel like your levels of stress and your levels of capacity for work are like a stomach,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay,
You have to
all right.
stretch it out. You have to get used to it.
No,
right?
he's so true.
What
It's
do
so
you-
Because
true.
if you overdo it and you
What
redline
are
it
you
too fast,
talking
you get
I love where he's going with this because
I mean, you
I
get
can
it,
totally
right?
relate.
But
Paul's lost.
you
I don't
if
know.
you-
You said stretching it
if
out.
you
I
ate
don't know
too
what's
much,
happening.
if you ate too much too fast, you're gonna feel sick,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if you're like a competitive eater and you these dudes are like
Yeah, you can handle
rails
that.
and they eat 30,000 hot dogs in one sitting, right? You
For
have
sure.
to build yourself up, I think, mentally to be able to handle that business. Because I mean, if I look at a new guy and I was like, hey man, here's 18 deals, right?
He's gonna drop.
So you can't do
Yeah,
it.
you can't do it, right?
His
But
head would blow
and
up.
I would have too. But
Yeah.
you have to build up to that. And now it's like I'm thinking, what's the next level, right? What can I do? Can I add into this without overdoing it? Do I have to turn off for a few days? Do I have to get away?
Can I be honest with you?
Sure.
I'm glad that the world doesn't work at 100% all the time, because it gives me an opportunity to work 60% and still win.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean, I get it, but I don't know. I mean, not that I disagree with that. It works well for us now.
I don't have to run faster than the bear. I just have to run faster
But
than
I
you.
also think about it. Yeah, but another thing to think
This is
about
so
too
true, yeah.
is because a lot of people are saying this is like we have robots who are 100% efficient essentially, right? Maybe not in reality, but they don't shut off, right?
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
turn off. There's the Zillow, the Redfin, the Realtor.com that are monsters that, hey, if you were like doing 40%, 50% and getting by and making a couple $100
You
a
better
year,
turn it up, buddy.
yeah.
You better
So,
turn it up, buddy.
For me, I'm like, shit, how do I get from closing 4 million to 10 million personally? And how do I get the people on my team to do that too? Or how do I delegate that to others? Because, as soon as that robot comes, you're going to have to be at a certain level that
you got to
before
be
you
ahead
get
of
swept,
it. Yeah.
right? And I mean, I think that's where everyone's thinking things are going. So,
We just got to be ahead of it, man. I don't think you'll ever remove a human touch out of it. We've
No.
talked about this before, but
Yeah,
like,
no way.
but are you going to be a broker owner? Or are you going to work for Zillow?
right,
For sure.
right,
Or work at a small shop which owns your local market,
yeah.
which I don't know.
So bottom line is, you got to stretch your stomach out by eating a lot. That's what we got out of that.
try to eat as much as you can.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sal.
So that's it, boys. That's the end of the show. Went pretty quick.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate
I
it.
do want to say that Machine Gun Kelly's retort to Eminem was really good.
Oh my goodness.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And I'm an Eminem fan. Sal does not like the new album at all.
I don't completely dislike it. I think he's a good writer, and I think that it's a lot of funny and good lyrics. But at the same time, it's just not delivered like it was when I was in 6th grade, which
Right.
made me a fan. So
yeah.
For sure.
I will say that I've never seen a rapper go harder than Machine Gun Kelly just did. If anybody hasn't listened to it, I know it's weird.
Yeah, I still need to check it out.
You gotta listen to it. It's
Yeah.
if you want to see something similar, just head down to your local trailer. I mean, come on, guys.
And on that note, on that note, we are out of here. Please give everybody your contact information, Mr. Ross Rawson the Third.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Ross Rawson, ROSSROSSAN, or give me a call at 248-259-6441. Love to help you out.
Give that phone number one more time.
248-259-6441.
And for the audience, please check us out on iTunes. The more subscribers we have, the better I feel about my life. We've got like 4 right now. I'm actually trying to use guilt. So I'm trying to guilt people into liking our show. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week.